Hello again. This is Madeline again, back on the Mad Juice Conversation series, and today I've got a new person on the call, which I'm really excited about. I've got to say that I'm thoroughly enjoying having new beautiful conversations with people every week. I think it's such a delight, and it's something that I've loved my whole life, and now I get to do it. And so for me, it's a real treat, and hopefully everyone that's listening will get some goodness and some inspiration out of it, because this is all about inspiring everyone in the world to go out and step into their own light and serve their mission. So Bridgett is calling from, is it North Carolina? That's correct,
Yes.
isn't it? Yes. She's with us from North Carolina, and I connected with Bridgett through a coaching group that we're part of. And I thought she seemed like a really interesting, beautiful person to know, and I invited her onto the call. So, like every single time we do this, we're not going to talk about what she's done and why she's done it and all the background. We're going to just dive deep, because that's what this is all about. And if you want to find out about Bridgett, where she's came from and her whole backstory and more about her, I'll put a link on underneath this video, and you can go and check her out, and if she resonates with you, get in contact with her. So normally when I start these, I have a little box of questions that I've put in, and I normally just pull a little question out because I think it's quite a fun way to start the conversation. And the question I got today is, what's possible?
What's possible?
What's possible? So on that note, Bridgett, for you, what is possible?
My first thought was anything that you imagine. Anything that you imagine to be possible for your life is possible. And I think sometimes I heard this said years ago, and it really resonated with me, and it stuck with me, that sometimes we don't ask for what we really want in life because we don't believe we can have it. And maybe 3 or 4 years ago, it clicked with me somehow that you really can have, do, and be what you want in this life. And that when you really get that, the visions for what you begin to want for your life really explode.
Yeah.
And so what's possible is anything you imagine. It could be lifestyle, it could be the way you serve people. That's my general thought, but I can go into specifics if you want, but that's it's a big feeling of freedom.
Yeah. And I think from because I know that you work as a coach and you help a lot of people, I suppose, reconnect to themselves in a lot of ways. I'm guessing that's a big question that comes up in those situations as well, underneath the surface. I mean, I don't know about you, but when you're working with people on a deeper level, a lot of people don't feel that things are possible. You know, that's why they come to us, because it's, you know, they don't have that self-belief in a lot of ways. Yeah,
so that's absolutely true. And I think people come to us as coaches from a variety of life experiences, right? And so some people come to us more eager and ready to take on brand new visions that they have set up for themselves, and they want some help getting there. And other people need help exploring the visions themselves. You know, what is possible for me? And so it's great fun, and it's actually maybe surprising, I don't know, but it's very emotional work. It's very emotional. You begin to help people to see what is possible for them. And a lot of the work that I do part of it has to do with how you want your life to actually look. So the mechanics of that, you know, what do you want to be doing? How do you want to serve people? But the other part of it is more about what do you want your life to look and feel like? You know, we get into things about relationships and even health and well-being come up. I mean, all the things that come up with what it really means to thrive, what it really means to love your life. And of course, as coaches, we help them from wherever they're starting, right? It could be people come to us at all different starting points, and they may have, right, one area that they feel really confident about and they're really thriving in, and the others they need some help with. But we just help them to see what's there, right? See the picture of what's there, and then begin to build the steps to what's possible.
Yeah, and that's beautiful, and I love that. And it's funny, it reminds me of a conversation I had yesterday with someone where she had this idea, and she said, my life is perfect in all these different areas, but it's just, if I could just fix this thing, if I could just get that fixed, then everything else will work out. And I thought, it's just a funny thing, isn't it? Because it's like layers, right? But they normally come to us with this is the thing I just need to get fixed. And once I get that, then everything else will be perfect. And I thought, oh, wow, you're in for a beautiful ride, because normally it's like you peel one and it's like, there's another one. Yeah. And then you peel another layer and it just kind of keeps growing, which is the beauty of it, right? It's not... I don't mean, digging deep and finding trauma, but it's kind of like you're finding a new part of yourself, and it's about kind of self-acceptance really, and bringing in that part of you and accepting all of you more and more. And once you do, wow, life changes. Yes.
Very much agree. And I'm reminded of someone who was doing network marketing, and I was not very familiar, right? I'm not as skilled in that. But I was working with her towards reaching an income goal. And in the course of the first 3 months, it was so interesting. Every week we would talk about the strategies she was doing. And week by week, I noticed her language was starting to change, more around gratitude and more around things that she felt more deeply. And it was interesting because I won't say she made a career change in 3 months, but she began to tap into something else she was meant to be doing, because in network marketing, there were aspects of leadership that she was beginning to take on. And she came up with this idea that what she was really meant to do was to lead people and inspire people. And she connected that with her spirituality. And it just gave her a whole new perspective on what her future could look like. And she came in with income goals. And so it's just beautiful how we can have these really deep shifts, right? Just from the coaching work itself.
Beautiful. I love that. I love that. It's kind of, it's creating that real purpose, because for me, purpose is always sort of it needs to be an active service connected to your purpose. There's no purpose that doesn't not need that. So it sounds to me like that's what she found. She found a real meaning and a real deeper meaning. And that's the big shift I find for a lot of people. It's helping them to find that deeper meaning of why they are wanting what they're wanting, or wanting to do what, wanting to have whatever it is they're looking for. Mm-hmm. Yeah, beautiful. So I know that you work with, you do a lot of deep kind of inner work with people, and I know that we have a few similarities there, because I know I do a lot of meditation therapy, and I work to really connect people to their inner selves. What do you use as tools and things like that with your client? I know it differs, but in a general, where do you normally go with your clients?
Yeah. So in general, most clients don't come to me overtly saying that they want help with meditation, or that they want to learn it, or they want guidance with it. Some do. But where I was trained as a coach actually gave me a really good, and I was able to, I wanted to, and it's worked out beautifully so far. I wanted to be able to incorporate that as a gift for clients that they didn't even know that they were seeking necessarily. And the way I do that is, and if I talk to my colleagues that I went into the training with, if we get on a call together, if we have a mastermind or something, like we're so trained in this mindfulness now that we just always start with mindfulness. So, okay, let's have 5 minutes of mindfulness. And so we're accustomed to it. So I started adding that in with my clients on day one, when you have that first call, and it's just to kind of, depending on what training you're in, right? So you might call it a client creation call, right? So even on that first call, I seek permission about that first, because I don't know the individual, right? but I tell them, I say, I find that, and it's just so true, I find that having a few minutes of mindful meditation before we begin can be a really nice way to have a beautiful energy going into the session. It can help to clear the day, help to clear the week, help to set your intention even for what you gain from the session. And I ask if they would be open to it. And in general, most of the people that have come to me have said, sure, yeah, I meditate, so let's just go ahead and do it. I'm not sure about meditation. Is it kind of like breathing? And I said, yeah, we can just do some breathing exercises, you know. And so it just depends on their comfort level, and always leave it up to them. And then I guide them through 2 or 3 minutes of it. And I have thus far always gotten a really positive response from that, and it really just does set a nice tone for the session, and so it kind of supports them in. You know what it's like. You know when you meditate, it's the experience of being in your own presence, right? And it's like the experience of stilling your mind. And even though the thoughts are coming, it's just guiding them through that. Thoughts are going to come, right? And that's normal. And we can practice looking for the spaces between thoughts. But it just it's been a really lovely thing in the coaching, I will say. And I do think it gives people a chance to just be, right? Just be with support, because it can be hard, especially if you're new to it. It's hard to just sit, you know, in stillness for 5 minutes or 20 minutes. So it eases people into that. And for people who are accustomed to meditating, it just gives them an extra session, right? So just to go into coaching with that. So that's been really beautiful. And I apologize, Madeline, I forgot what the question was.
Oh no, you've told me. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, you answered it very, very well.
All right.
So do you find that when you do that with people, that sort of, I suppose, inspires them to bring that into their life when they're not in the room with you? Yeah.
It always starts a conversation around that. After we do the mindful meditation, 2 or 3 minutes, and I think I've flubbed this up a couple of times where I forgot to check in on this, but by and large, I check in on this. I say, so what was the meditation experience like for you today? And for regular clients, I ask them every time we have a call. And sometimes I think they may be tired of me checking in with how was the meditation today. But every time I think that they have something new, well, today was really hard because of so-and-so. And so it can actually, has a lot of benefits. One, it can actually lead us into the coaching call for that day. But it can really open a window for people to explore meditation more, or to. Recently with the call, there was someone who said, you know, I used to meditate and I've kind of fallen off from doing it, and I'm going to start back. And so he started back like the next day. So yeah, it helps people, I think, to reconnect with the practice itself, you know, and to remember that it's really nice. It's really lovely just to have a few minutes, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think exactly what you said just there, it reminds people, because they get the feeling in their body of what it feels like to just drop into themselves. Because life is so busy for a lot of people. And just what we spoke about before we went on the call today, it's a lot of frontal lobe stuff. It's just everything is structured, and there's meetings, and there's making choices and decisions, and it's all kind of stuff outside of ourselves. So when we allow ourselves to drop in, wow, there's this space there that we forget about. You know, there's this calm and this greatness. You know, and for me, I feel like I'm connected to something so much bigger. I remember that I'm just one part of a big ocean, you know, it's just that. And for some people it's different, but I love what that does to people, and it's such a simple tool that we sometimes people just forget, because they think it should be complicated, you know, it should be a lot harder, but it's so easy, you know, it is so easy. It's just reminding them to check in. So That's a really powerful thing you're doing in the beginning of your calls. I love that. That's beautiful. And I'm guessing that will take you to the place they need to go for the call as well, because it removes a lot of that scattered thoughts and creates a focus.
Yes. And as you're saying, it gives people just a chance to check in, because we do just go. And I'm guilty of it too, because even though I've been meditating for years, I slip, I slip. And the day can get away from you and going from one activity to the next. And I think it's called, it's called a practice for a reason, right? Because it's something that we continually have to commit to doing. And even just for me, just as I'm coming onto the call as a coach, I do it with them. I close my eyes, I go through it with them. And so I do think it helps to set up a really lovely call, and helps them to check in with what's going on with their thoughts, and sometimes with their body. Someone recently said, I realized that my back's been bothering me, and things like that get kind of pushed down in our mind. And when we have a chance to just sit with ourselves, those things can pop up to the surface.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Really beautiful. So building your business, I know you've been sort of working on it for a few years now. What's been, because we hear all about these beautiful things that you're doing, but what's been a challenge for you?
Two sides of life that I most want to come together. Which is motherhood and business. The entire reason that I went into, so 3 or 4 years ago, I learned that you can actually be something called an online entrepreneur. It was brand new to me. And I learned it because I was looking for something. Because I was a new mom, and I wanted to be present, with my child, and I wanted to create a lifestyle. And that really drove a lot of the projects that I pursued, and my education. It really was an education to learn how to even be online, right? And really valuable. But having small children and running a business is exactly what I want to be doing. It's exactly how I have created my life. I even have days on my schedule where nothing work-related happens. It's just time for my family. But at the same time, as I said to you coming on this call, I have a 7-month-old, and I have a home office. And so, he may wake up, and my husband's there to take care of him, but, we may hear him wake up. And so it's these two sides of my mind as a mom that are always wanting to do my best, and always wanting to grow and expand and be present and be thriving. And I think, I don't want to speak for every mom, but I think a lot of times we put a lot on ourselves to do all the things, and do all the things perfectly. And the beautiful thing is, though, that because when we coach, you used this phrase earlier, we're in the business of you. We're in the business of ourselves. And I'm very public about my beliefs and my life. And so I go on my podcast and I talk about my 6-year-old's meltdown. That's the kind of stuff I talk about. And I talk about how I fell off the wagon with my meditation, and what effect that had in my life. And so I try to show the true life side of things, but it's a challenge. The authenticity of it, though, I hope resonates with people. I have coached moms who have said they're experiencing a lot of the things that I'm experiencing. So there is some kinship, I think, that can come from that. So even the hardest challenges of just wanting to be all the things can actually be a strength. It can be a strength. My client tonight said, do you ever yell? That's what she asked me. Do you ever yell?
Oh no, never.
Well, no, and typically our calls, right? Our calls, like, we don't encourage, okay, this is just my style. I don't encourage me to talk about it's not about me talking about myself. I don't give advice. Do you know, like, there are some coaches that maybe give advice. I don't give advice. It's not about what I'm doing. Like, oh, I tried this and you should try it. No, it's like all about you. So it's unusual for a client to ask me a direct question like that. Do you yell at your kids? And a lot of times if someone does ask me a question, I want to know why they're asking the question, right? Because there's usually something behind there. And so I want to get to that. That's usually more important than my answer, usually. Like, oh, let me hear about why you're wondering that. But I did answer her. I did say, so yeah, the challenges can be a strength sometimes.
Yeah, of course. And what I love, what you just said as well just before, is that challenge can also become one of your strengths, because it's that authenticity of being so real to say, you know what, I'm not perfect. I'm far from perfect, and you don't need to be either.
Yeah.
This is like the game of life. We try our best and we do our best, and that's good enough. And I think that's something to really honor. That's a beautiful thing, because, gosh, yeah, okay, we've got all these people we look up to, and they're our gurus and all that sort of stuff, but we all have flaws. That's the beauty of it, right? That's the thing that makes us us. Without those flaws, we would not grow. We would not be reminded, unless we forgot to meditate a few days a week, we wouldn't be reminded how beneficial it is to meditate, right?
Yeah.
So,
there's so many beautiful inspirational leaders out there right now. Oh my God, there's just a list of them that I love to listen to, love to read their books, watch their videos. But it's all about, there's a lot of, they've got it figured out, right? And they're teaching us. And so we're like, okay, I want to learn. So I'm going to read your book. I'm going to, I want to get into that. And people, I think, tend to think that I need to be positive. I need to have positive thoughts. I need to, if I have a negative experience, then I'm attracting negative things, and I shouldn't be doing. It's like they don't want to put negative stuff on Facebook. They don't want to sometimes say today was awful because of so and so, because they don't want to be complaining, and they think I've got to be positive all the time. So I really try to balance that. I don't want to be complaining either. So yeah, I put a lot of inspirational quotes and things, but some days I'm just like, I kind of lost my marbles, last week. This is what happened. And I have the emotions on that other people have. I have guilt and shame that I yelled at my kids and all this, and I didn't get these things done on a deadline or whatever it is. People don't really hear that from, I guess, a lot of leaders. But as I'm thinking through this now, maybe they don't want to hear it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they just want to hear. It's a good question, right? I'm kind of playing with this right now. There's authenticity, and then there's like leadership. That's like, here's my success story. I was listening to a book by Mike Dooley today. Mike Dooley his new book is Playing the Matrix. And I love Mike Dooley. I love him. But he's got everything figured out, It's so easy. All you do is this, And I'm like, yeah, it is so easy. That's right. It is so easy. And so I'm going to visualize some more and whatever. And then I saw this thing from him on Facebook the other day about how he was nervous about a new project he was doing or going on stage something. He's like, yeah, I used to be crazy nervous. I used to always doubt that I could do this. And it was just kind of refreshing to hear him say that he doubted himself and that he had fears around, public speaking or his new book or whatever. And so I look for those little things I want to hear that.
Yeah, there you go, and you just answered your own questions, because it's like I'm not sure if leaders should show that vulnerability, but I love it because it makes you connect to them, because it's the truth. The truth is, we're not perfect. None of us are. And I'm the first one to, I'm guilty of that, trying to pretend like I've got it all figured out.
Which we have to do something to that, right?
Yeah, and it's that's not true. That's like ice cream and my kids, Oh my God. Like it's not like
the window was open.
Exactly right. Oh my gosh, I'm far from perfect. Oh my. And it's hard to accept that of yourself sometimes, isn't it? It's hard to say, do you know what? I'm not perfect, and that's okay. Far out, that's hard sometimes. Because we want to feel like we're really good. I think we want this from people.
Yes.
The pat on the back. Well done. You've done so well. Sometimes I do that to myself, just to kind of get up. It's okay. Well done. You've done well. It's crazy. It's that perfection. And I think I love social media to some extent. It's really good, really positive. It brings up new conversations in relationship, like we wouldn't have met otherwise. But there's another side to it, which is easy to. I use this analogy of you're comparing your someone's front garden to your own back garden.
Yeah.
You know all your crap, and then you're seeing someone else's beautiful, perfect front. Yeah. And it's like, oh my gosh, I haven't got that. I haven't got this. I'm not good enough. Or, I should do better. And it's all this sort of comparison happening, which it's not healthy. It's really important to see that, I think. It's, because I think we have a lot of, especially women. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm true, but I can relate this to myself. And if you feel it yourself, normally there's other people feeling it too. But for all my life, I haven't felt good enough. Like I was never good enough. My expectations were so high that I was never even going to reach them. Because once I reached them, there was another level to try and... It's crazy. And I think women in particular, because we've got so many different things we need to do in life. There's all these, I need to be a great mom, and then I need to have a great business, and then I need to look great, and then I need to join the gym, and then I need to eat this special food, and then I need to go shopping for all this special food for my children. Because it's like it can drive you crazy, and it's just taking that baggage off and go, do you know what? I am not perfect, but that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. I mean, it is true. I wish I could see my husband, obviously, as I mentioned, is downstairs taking care of a 7-month-old. So he's very much involved as a parent, but I can't speak for men, right? I don't know what it's like for them, but I know from my perspective, it feels like there's a lot of, it's not even a lot of hats to wear. I kind of want to say that, but it's not even that. It's pressures we put on ourselves, I think. And I just have to say, just parenting in and of itself is just the most humbling thing of my life. Just really and truly. Business is easy compared to parenting, and I spent my whole life around children. I was a teacher. I mean, I've just spent my whole life around children. It's very humbling. And it's taught me so much, because I have dropped judgments. I have, I am learning every day patience, and I absolutely beat myself up if I speak harshly. That is like the worst thing for me, is to do that. And so we have this picture in our minds of how life's supposed to be. We're supposed to be making the homemade, organic, whatever, fill in the blank, gluten-free, sugar, whatever, cookies, and, with like sparkles on it. And it's, oh my gosh. Some days it is the polar opposite of that. Some days you're sleep deprived, or a lot of days you're sleep deprived. So it's bringing all of who you are. It's bringing all of who you are to everyone you coach. It's wasn't it, I'll probably get this mixed up or messed up, but Rich Litvin in our group, right? He said, he was talking about what you charge, right? The rate that you charge for your service. And he was talking about famous painter. Was it Picasso? Am I remembering that story right? Do you know the story?
Yeah.
Someone asked him to draw a portrait, and he took like, 30 seconds and did something. And when she said, how much is it? He said, it's $5,000. She said, well, it only took you, took you less than a minute to do this. How could it cost so much? And he said, ma'am, this took me my whole life. It took me my whole life. And I think that's who we bring to the call. When we hold that space for our clients, it's not a space of judgment. It's not a space of I'm wiser than you. It's not a space of, well, I did it this way and it worked, so let me teach you how to do it that way. It's just this sacred space of bringing all of who you are for all of who they are. And to me, that is just love. And that's just how I think of coaching. I think I just love my clients, and I hold space for them to begin to see that for themselves. I kind of say sometimes it's kind of like holding up a mirror, right? Coaching is kind of like holding up a mirror to someone, except for, I don't know, I've never gone this far in the analogy, I guess, but it's like it's a mirror that like, it reflects kind of the truth about who they are, maybe. And that's really beautiful. Who they are is really beautiful. And so we may do problem solving around specific things, but it's really more about bringing out all the things that are right with them, things that are right with them. And that translates into every area of life. Yeah.
Beautiful. I love that. So what inspires you besides working with your clients? And
what inspires me? Certainly my children inspire me. And when they're really little, they're in the moment all the time. You have kids, right?
Yeah, I do. I've got 2 kids. Yeah.
How old are they?
I've got a 6-year-old boy and I've got a 9-year-old girl. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we share the 6-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Then. Yeah. When they're really little, they're really in the moment. And they marvel at everything, right? Everything is a brand new experience, and you can see things through their eyes in a whole new way, right? So that is very inspiring, and I'm learning how they begin to adapt to the world as their consciousness changes. The ego rises in us, and so I'm watching that. I'm learning. I'm watching how that happens. But what else inspires me? My clients absolutely inspire me. They are, they're just beautiful souls. They're just beautiful souls. I have genuinely loved everyone I've ever coached. And so they truly do inspire me. So many things inspire me. That creative vibe you get in sometimes when you're working on something like a new project for what you're going to put out in the world, right? You're working on a blog or something, and everything is flowing. That feeling when you're in flow and the fingers going crazy on the keyboard. I love those moments, and I get a lot of that in this kind of work because I'm doing what I love. Now, haven't always, but I'm doing what I love, and so that the flow is there a lot more.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that. I just actually, when I did my master's in holistic counseling, I done my thesis on flow states. So I know very well what you're talking about. I'm fascinated about it. Yeah. And it's exactly that. It's time disappears, it's just, there is no time. It's just this moment right here. I mean, it's the ultimate mindfulness, if ever you've heard it, it's like that idea of the what's it called? Someone jumping out of an airplane, and it's that, they say they're adrenaline junkies, but they're really not, because what they want is what happens when the adrenaline disappears and you get flushed with all these positive neurochemicals in your system, and it's like the biggest high on the planet. And it's literally the same thing that happens anytime we are in a moment where we are just absorbed with what we're doing. And creativity is, such a good way to do that. Meditation is one, if that's what tickles your fancy. Some people don't like that, but I know I know exactly what you mean, and it's just the best feeling in the world. And you know, I'm guessing you'll get that with your clients sometimes too, right? When you're like, oh my goodness, I've got to go. I've got another one. You know,
it's just right here. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's powerful. Yep. Really, really powerful. So do you have, like, I'm not sure about you, but for me, I kind of, without really planning it, I tend to prime my brain every day with things. So I sort of absorb my life with a lot of things. I get absorbed in things that really supports me and my mission, right? Do you have things like that as well? Things that you tend to do that, besides obviously mindfulness, I know, is there other things that you do daily or weekly or whatever that you feel really works for you to kind of stay really present and in your own light?
It's something that I find is in flux, because as soon as you get everything figured out, things shift.
Yeah.
So I'll have like this beautiful routine of getting up early and doing a meditation, having a full glass of water, doing some breathe. I mean, you know, all the beautiful things that we know support us. And then I'll get, you know, that's the only thing that I say is consistent about my practice, is that it's inconsistent. I aspire to like have it all figured out, but no, I'll have weeks or months where I have beautiful routines, and then I'll, you know, I don't know, somebody will get sick, or there's travel, there's something, and or I'm not getting any sleep because the baby's up 6 times a night, or whatever it is, and things get shifted again. So the thing that I take away from that, though, is just that it's about kindness with yourself. You know, just being kind to yourself and not beating yourself up about those things, but also just refocusing on self-care when and where you can. And for me, that has to do with solitude. I've got to have some degree of solitude in order to feel right, you know, in order to feel like I'm in a good place. If I don't have that, and the day just kind of takes hold of me, you know, and one thing goes and the next thing goes, I feel much less in control of things. And I think it was Jim Rohn, and love Jim Rohn. I think he was saying, you know, either you run your day or the day runs you. Right? So part of that solitude for me, or whatever the practice is at that time that I'm working on, that's me getting ahead of my day. But the other thing I would say that is very consistent, I'm pretty consistent with meditation, but I'm also very consistent with books. And I would say reading books, but I don't feel like I read books much anymore. I listen to books. I listen to books on Audible, and I just absorb it. I just love it so much, right? There's always something new and wonderful to listen to. And there's so many beautiful authors out right now, and good classics, but I'm always listening to self-help stuff, right? So it's listen to much fiction, but it's all nonfiction. It's all personal growth. It's all in that vein. But just love it.
So on that note, if anyone's listening to this right now and is sort of in that state where they're feeling like something's missing, or they might want to connect a bit deeper with themselves, is there any book that you feel kind of pops up in your head going, oh, that would be a beautiful book to read?
There's so many beautiful things out there right now. My favorite has to do with your life philosophy, and it's not New Agey, and it's not metaphysical. And I love New Agey, and I love metaphysical, but it's more about just the basics of life philosophy, and it's told in a very humorous, enjoyable way. It's not really a book, but it's an audio. It's Jim Rohn's CD. It's a collection of his talks, and it's called The Art of Exceptional Living.
Okay.
The Art of Exceptional Living is a collection of his talks over the years, and it's like the foundational stuff, you know, about how to really create a life that you truly love. And, you know, I add on to that, right? I add on my meditation, and I add on I really love like studying consciousness. I just am fascinated by that, and a lot of those things around that. So I add on my stuff, but it's just foundational life principles about, and it's not just about success in business. It's about everything. It's about who you are. And I think he's the one who says that about goal setting, right? Because I was never a goal setter even. But just, in the last 3 or 4 years, I've become a goal setter. He said, set a goal to make $1 million. Well, it has a nice ring to it. Okay, you set a goal for $1 million, has a nice ring to it. It sounds good. But don't necessarily set the goal for the $1 million. Set the goal for what $1 million will make of you, for what that goal will make of you. And so it's all about building up yourself. You have to forgive me for all the quotes. I just love quotes. I think he's the one who said, formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. Have you heard that before?
Yes, I have heard that. It's beautiful. I love that. Yeah.
It's really foundational stuff about how you can set up your life in really lovely ways. Relationships, health, business success, all of it. It's about growing,
And that's and it's funny because I spoke to another beautiful soul before another conversation that I've just had, and we just talked about that as well. About it's not so much the stuff we want. The goal setting is normally a thing we want or something we want to accomplish. But really what we remember at the end of the day is the feeling that it gives us. That's what we really want. We want the feeling. We want the person we become when we have that. And if you don't get that, if you're just if you're this deaf to get the stuff, when you get the stuff, you will get the biggest high and the biggest low in the space of no time, right? Because it's the feeling that we want. Our soul knows that. But sometimes we get it wrong because it's all, we get told that we need stuff in order to create happiness, right? It's that false premises. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful.
So, are you familiar with Abraham Hicks?
Yes.
Yes. So they would say, you think you want the stuff because you'll be happy when you have the stuff. Well, just be happy now.
Yes, exactly right.
Now.
Exactly
the stuff
right.
will come.
Yes, the stuff will come. The stuff will come.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And again, I always do this with my client, is helping them to hone in on the feeling of what they want, and then create that feeling right now, and then take in tiny, small steps to bring more of that feeling into your life. Because then you're creating your future here, and the future then is inevitable, right? Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Well, that's a great audio. I'll look out for that one myself. It sounds amazing. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Thank you.
Pleasure
so
with
much.
you as well.
It's been so nice to connect with you, and I know for sure that we will connect more. I'm not sure if we're going to LA together in April, but if we are, I will see you there. Before we go, I've got the quick 5, my little quick sort of questions, and you can just answer with a word or a couple of words, or sometimes you need to answer with a sentence, but it's just really what comes up for you.
Okay.
So, number 1, the world is
beautiful. The world is beautiful.
I love it when.
When I end the day with a satisfying feeling, that feeling of fulfillment. You end the day with that feeling of fulfillment and satisfaction that you've done something good in the world.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. If I had time, I would
take. This is a terrible answer. It's the first thing that popped in my mind, though. I would take more naps, and I thought that because I'm just not getting a lot of sleep right now because I have a little one. Oh my gosh, that's a terrible answer.
No, you know what? There's truth in that, though. If we talk about Abraham Hicks, like she always says, if you're in a bad state, take a nap. So.
Yes.
Yes.
Life just gives you signals for when you need to take a nap.
Yes.
I should probably change that answer, though. If I had more time, I would, I would create more. I would create more. Creating things is immense fun. It's immense fun. It's part of what I love about this work. So yeah, that's what I would do. I'd create more.
I am my happiest when?
Oh, the image of my children's smiling faces came to me. That presence that you can have with your children when everything feels right with the world, you know, and they're smiling at you and you're smiling at them and everybody's happy. Those moments, you know, yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. My future is
brilliant. Brilliant. Because I know that when we ask, it is given. And so therefore we can set our own course, you know. And so that means it's guaranteed that the future is brilliant.
Beautiful. What a lovely way to end our conversation today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm going to pop your contact details underneath the video. If people want to check out more about you and connect with you, they can do that through there. But it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm sure we will speak again. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Madeline. This was just really phenomenal. Thank you.